Artist Kirill Kiselyov in the first broadcast of telechannel Soyuz, the Union. Good day, dear spectators. Today you're watching TV broadcast Clear Image. We're Russians and our culture is Russian Orthodoxy. The purpose of this program is to discuss how we can bring culture, which comes from the word cult, into Russian Orthodoxy. It doesn't mean necessarily that we will be talking about Christian culture, such as singing, poetry, and so on. We will be talking about circular culture, because circular culture has to be, it can be Orthodox culture as well. Today we are guests in the house of Kirill Kiselyov, the Russian artist. He is very frequently broadcasting during the radio broadcasts of Clear Image channel. Good afternoon, Kirill. Well, today we are with all our equipment in your house. Let's tell a little bit to our spectators about yourself. Do you remember the poetry of Zabolotsky, who said that that artists help to bring onto the canvas the mystery of the soul? Do you think that modern photography will ever replace the artist? Well, I hope it will never happen. In our country, in Russia, there is a large number of cultured people. I think that's because our Russian Orthodox religion was not interrupted in the history of the country. We don't look at ourselves as artists, we as the creators of art. We are mere co-creators. When we look at landscapes and when we look at the artworks, we see the images of the God's world, the world that we will enter at the end of our lives. How did you become an artist? Did it happen in your childhood, or did you have any ancestors who were artists? No, not as such. My father, for example, he is a constructor of planes. He participated in construction of many airplanes that we use currently. As far as my grandparents, my grandfather and grandmother were teachers. During the World War II, they worked as a principal in an orphanage in the Volga region, the orphanage for Hispanic children. After the end of the war, they continued their work, and they were principals of separate schools. Also, my grandfather was a pro-rector of Moscow State University and participated in its building. At the current moment, there are lots of people who are trying to realize and understand the source of our culture, our national idea. I think while you learn about your history, about the history of your ancestors, the most important is to be worthy of our ancestors. How do you think? Yes, of course. absolutely, I think we should and have to be worthy of our ancestors, of our culture. When during my concerts, I frequently say "Glory to Russia," and people who are listening to it, they carry the thought and say it with me out loud. People such as Serafim Sarovsky, Alexander Nevsky, Surikov, painters Surikov, Vasnetsov, they are our ancestors, and we have to make them proud. Well, when I was a little boy, I started painting on the wallpaper of my room. As you remember, when during the Soviet time, we were not able to express ourselves freely as far as religion is concerned. As you remember, when we went to church, the church was filled with grannies, and if a young person would have wanted to go to the church, he could have been prosecuted. You could have been fired from your job or dismissed from your school or university. My parents were aiding my religious education, my Orthodox education, and introduced me to it. At a very early age, I realized that I wanted to be an artist. I watched how religious people look at icons. Icons are created by an artist who puts his ego, who puts his desires and ambitions aside. The icons are not signed, so an artist is usually unknown. So the main role in the creating of icon is God's will. So the artist is co-creating this process. So through the artist, as well as then through the icon, God gives what people who are praying to it are asking. What have you finished in terms of your artistic education? I thought for a long time what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a musician, and I finished musical school, learned how to play piano. I also sang in a choir, but unfortunately you can't simultaneously pursue so many directions. You don't have enough time for it. So I chose the art. So I went to art school, Surikov Art School. It didn't happen for me for the first time. I had, I tried to actually become a student in that school twice, and second time I was lucky. So in the school, while I was in the school, I copied a lot the art of classical famous Russian artists. At that time, Tretyakov Gallery, which is the base and and sort of the main arsenal of Russian artistry, the gallery was closed for 10 years for Russian artists. So the pupils were not encouraged to go and copy and see the artists in the gallery, but in fact there were a lot of emphasis put on your own ability to improvise and draw your own ideas and sort of grow yourself.